So you know how people say home is where the heart is? It's a beautiful idea, right? It suggests that no matter what your house looks like, it's the love inside that counts. And that's true, it is. But let's be honest, the physical house itself also says a lot. It says a lot about your life, your opportunities, and where you fit in the grand, complicated, and often ridiculous puzzle of society. Today we're going on a little world tour, a global open house, if you will. Let's take a look at how the rich and the poor live in different countries around the world. Because the difference isn't just about having a bigger TV or a fancier couch. It's about two completely different realities, often existing just a few miles apart. We're going to see some places that will blow your mind with their opulence. Swimming pools that look like small lakes, gardens that need their own postal code, and garages bigger than most people's apartments. And then, sometimes just over the hill or across the highway, we'll see homes built from scrap metal and hope, where a running tap is the ultimate luxury. It's a story of extremes, of haves and have-nots, played out in bricks, mortar, concrete, and corrugated iron. It's the contrast between a mansion that's a fortress of comfort and a shack that's a fragile shelter against the world. This isn't about shaming anyone, rich or poor. It's about understanding the world we all share. Because when you see how stark the divide is, how one person's front lawn could fit another person's entire neighborhood, it makes you think. It makes you ask questions about how we got here and where we're going. So buckle up, because this journey through the world's living rooms, backyards, and alleyways is going to be eye-opening. Let's get into it. The United States, the land of opportunity, the home of the brave, and the place where you can find houses so big they have their own weather systems. I'm kidding, mostly. But seriously, when you look at how the wealthy live here, it's like something out of a movie. We're talking sprawling mansions in Beverly Hills or the Hamptons, with manicured lawns that look like they've been cut with nail scissors, infinity pools that blend into the ocean, and home theaters that are better than actual theaters. These aren't just homes. They are personal resorts, private kingdoms built to keep the outside world at a comfortable, air-conditioned distance. It's the American dream on steroids, a testament to wealth that's not just lived in but broadcast. Now let's just take a short drive, sometimes literally just across the freeway, and you'll find another version of American housing. Here, the dream feels a little more deferred. We're talking about trailer parks or manufactured home communities if you're feeling fancy. These are rows of prefabricated homes, often in areas with fewer resources and opportunities. Or you have low-income housing projects in the inner cities, concrete towers that were once hailed as a solution, but often became concentrated pockets of poverty. For many, this is home. It's a roof over their head, yes, but it's a world away from the gated communities and private security patrols of the wealthy. The contrast is just staggering. It's not just about the size of the house, it's about everything that comes with it. It's the difference between a zip code that guarantees access to the best schools, parks, and hospitals, and one that might mean dealing with food deserts, underfunded public services, and a sense of being left behind. One person's home is a symbol of arrival and security, a fortress of success. For another, it's a constant reminder of the struggle, a starting line that seems to get pushed further back with every passing year. This is the duality of housing in America, a nation of vast wealth living side by side with profound need. Next up, we're heading to India, specifically Mumbai, a city that is a living, breathing, chaotic symphony of humanity. And nowhere is that more obvious than in its housing. On one hand, you have some of the most expensive real estate on the planet. I'm talking about futuristic high-rise apartments piercing the skyline, offering breathtaking views of the Arabian Sea. Inside these vertical palaces, you'll find every imaginable luxury: private gyms, rooftop pools, valet parking, and concierges who can probably arrange for a unicorn to be delivered to your door if you have the money. It's a life of serene, air-filtered comfort, lived dozens of stories above the beautiful chaos of the city below. But if you look down from one of those balconies, you'll see a completely different world. Sprawling out for miles is the other side of Mumbai's housing story, the slums. Places like Dharavi, one of the largest slums in Asia, are cities within the city. Here, homes are tiny, often single-room structures packed together in a labyrinth of narrow, winding lanes. These are not just houses. They are also workshops, factories, and shops. Life is lived out in the open, a communal, vibrant, and incredibly resourceful existence born out of necessity. A single tap might serve hundreds of people, and electricity can be a tangled, precarious web of wires. The incredible thing about Mumbai is that these two worlds aren't separated by miles of countryside. They are literally neighbors. A gleaming tower of glass and steel can stand right next to a dense, low-lying slum, the shadows of the wealthy literally falling over the homes of the poor. It's the most jarring visual representation of inequality you can imagine. In one building, someone might be deciding which of their 5 bathrooms to use. Next door, a family might be queuing for their daily ration of water. It's a vertical divide where your altitude determines your reality, all within the same square mile of this incredible, contradictory city. Alright, let's fly over to Brazil, a country known for its passion, its music, and its stunning landscapes. In cities like Rio de Janeiro, the natural beauty is just honestly breathtaking. But nestled within that beauty is a social landscape of dramatic, almost unbelievable contrast. The wealthy in Rio live a life of sun-drenched glamour. Think of the upscale condos in neighborhoods like Ipanema or Leblon, with their beachfront views, 24/7 security, and private elevators. These are modern, sleek buildings designed for comfort and exclusivity, where residents can enjoy the city's beauty from behind the safety of high walls and security gates. It's a life where the biggest concern might be whether the ocean is calm enough for a morning swim. Then, you lift your eyes to the hillsides that surround the city, and there you see them, the favelas. These are vibrant, sprawling communities that climb up the mountains, a colorful mosaic of brick and tin houses. For millions of people, this is home. Favelas are often born from necessity, built by residents themselves without formal planning or government oversight. While many are thriving communities full of culture and resilience, they also face immense challenges. Access to basic services like sanitation, clean water, and reliable electricity can be a daily struggle, and they are often stigmatized, seen as no-go zones by those living in the asfalto or the paved formal city below. What's so unique about Rio is how the geography itself highlights the inequality. The rich live on the flat, prime beachfront land, while the poor have been pushed up into the hills, often onto steep, unstable terrain. You can be sipping a caipirinha at a luxury hotel pool and look up to see a favela clinging to the mountainside right above you. It's a constant, visible reminder of the two Brazils that exist in one city. One is a postcard of tropical paradise, a world of leisure and security. The other is a testament to human struggle and ingenuity, a world of community and precariousness, literally looking down on the wealth it can see but cannot touch. Now we come to my home country, South Africa. And here, the story of housing is deeply, painfully intertwined with our history. The legacy of apartheid wasn't just a set of racist laws. It was physically built into the landscape, designed to separate people. And you can still see that architecture of division today. For the affluent, many of whom are white, but increasingly includes a multiracial elite, life is often lived inside secure, gated communities. These are modern-day fortresses. We're talking high walls, electric fences, 24-hour security guards, and access-controlled booms. Inside, it's a world of quiet, tree-lined streets, spacious homes with swimming pools, and private parks where kids can play safely. It's a bubble of tranquility and order, designed to keep the perceived chaos of the outside world out. And then, often just a highway or a railway line away, a deliberate buffer zone from the apartheid era, you find the townships. These are the vast, sprawling, and often under-resourced areas where black South Africans were forced to live. Places like Soweto near Johannesburg, or Khayelitsha near Cape Town. While some parts of the townships have developed into vibrant middle-class suburbs, many areas are still informal settlements. Here, people live in shacks made of corrugated iron and wood, sometimes without formal roads, running water, or sanitation. These are communities built on resilience, but they face enormous daily challenges that are a direct result of historical neglect and systemic inequality. The divide in South Africa is so stark because it was designed, it was intentional. The buffer zones, the highways, the railway lines, they were all part of a plan to keep people apart. And even though apartheid is over, its ghost haunts our cities. You can drive from a leafy, wealthy suburb that looks like it could be in California or Europe, and within minutes, be in an informal settlement that feels like a different world. It's a physical manifestation of the economic inequality that remains South Africa's biggest challenge. The homes people live in are not just structures. They are symbols of a divided past and a still unequal present. Our final stop is the United Kingdom, a country with a long, complicated history of class and status, and you better believe that history is written all over its houses. For the super wealthy, Britain offers a unique blend of old money and new. You have the historic country estates, these massive, sprawling properties that have been in aristocratic families for centuries. Think Downton Abbey, but with Wi-Fi and a helipad. These homes are symbols of lineage and inherited privilege. Then, in cities like London, you have the new form of luxury, multi-million-pound flats in gleaming new towers, or beautifully restored Georgian townhouses in places like Kensington, owned by international billionaires and oligarchs. It's a world of discrete, immense wealth. On the other side of the housing ladder, you have a reality that's far from a fairy tale castle. For many working-class and low-income Britons, home is a council flat. These are social housing blocks, many of which were built after World War II with utopian ideals of providing good homes for all. While they provided essential housing for generations, many of these buildings have suffered from decades of underinvestment and neglect. They can be cramped, in poor repair, and are often located in deprived areas. For many, social housing has become a trap rather than a stepping stone, a visible marker of being on the wrong side of the country's economic fortunes. The British contrast is perhaps more subtle than in other countries, but it's just as profound. It's the difference between a home that is an asset, a piece of a global property portfolio, and a home that is a source of anxiety, with worries about rent, repairs, and the stigma that can come with living in social housing. You can have a street of multi-million-pound Victorian houses and just a few blocks away, a council estate where families are struggling to get by. It's the old, ingrained British class system, playing out not in lords and ladies, but in postcodes and property values. A quiet but persistent reminder that in the UK, where you live still says a lot about who you are. So we've been around the world, from the manicured lawns of America to the vertical slums of India, from the hills of Rio to the planned divisions of South Africa and the class-bound streets of the UK. And what have we seen? We've seen that no matter where you go, the gap between rich and poor is reflected in the homes people live in. It's a universal story told with different accents and different building materials. A house stops being just a home and becomes a symbol of security or precarity, of opportunity or exclusion, of making it or being left behind. The sheer scale of the difference is hard to comprehend. This isn't just about envy or aspiration. This is about the fabric of our societies. When some people live in homes so large they can get lost, while others live in spaces so small they have no privacy, it affects everything. It impacts health, education, safety, and a person's fundamental sense of dignity and hope. The view from a penthouse window is literally and figuratively different from the view from a shack's doorway. And when two such different views exist in the same city, it creates a tension that shapes the lives of everyone, whether they realize it or not. So, the next time you're walking or driving through a city, any city, look around. Look at the houses. Think about the different lives being lived inside those walls. What does the housing in your own community say about who is valued and who is overlooked? Because these aren't just buildings, they are the physical evidence of the world we've built. And asking questions about them is the first step toward imagining how we might one day build it differently and maybe a little more fairly for everyone. Thanks for watching.